Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Economy.
Yeah.
And when everyone else was a national fund, so it is not commensurate with what we speak to policy and where we want maybe sports to be in Kenya. I thought it's a learned lesson because we're looking for stories of significant change to see now we have the stadium, we have everything else. What does that speak to the sports in the country and talent?
Good questions, and perhaps some of those will come up in our conversation today because we're looking at those pain points. Before we do that, Dennis, this week is in the Gambia.
Yes, we are in the Gambia, the home of Kunta Kinte, many would say.
Yep.
But what exactly is Kunta Kinte? It is during the transatlantic trade, it was used as the traffic route that then took Africans from the continent into other jurisdictions as well. But the proverb that we do have this morning is, if you kick a donkey, you become a donkey. How would you interpret it?
Well, I think I like keeping simple and not overthinking. When you kick a donkey, you become a donkey. It's actually, I think it's from people looking. For me, I would be speaking to the people looking at what you're doing, because sometimes you cannot hold a conversation with a donkey. So even if you kick it, probably it will keep quiet, move on, mourn and go. So the throwback, what bounced back to you is actually what the donkey has done. So for the people looking, there's no difference.
There's no difference. Well said.
Indeed. Let's look at the finance bill. It's going to come before the House in a short while, and the debate on that is going to begin. One would assume that the different memoranda that have been submitted will be considered in the conversation, whether it buffers some of the factors that have been put, or whether it disagrees with some of them and then gives requisite reasoning to that. But all in all, it will come for debate, after which whatever will be dropped, whatever will be retained, whatever will be tweaked, and then it will become an act. But let's look at some of the things in the finance bill that we may not be aware of. And obviously, you're here, so you know a lot more of these. But just by way of introduction, some of the things that are being introduced. The cost of sugar is expected to rise if the National Assembly approves the Finance Bill 2026. It proposes to remove transport of sugarcane from factories from the category of zero-rated services and goods to VAT-exempt. Raw materials for processing animal feeds and drugs, as well as locally manufactured mobile phones, some motorcycles, electric bicycles, electric buses, solar and lithium ion batteries are also set to be removed from zero-rated to tax-exempt, potentially leading to price increases. Let's start from there, and then, of course, the other factors will come in, which you'll explain to us. A very basic thing, when we look at cane, feeds, medicine, phones, transport, from zero-rated to tax-exempt, VAT-exempt, what does that mean?
You know, when it comes to you're moved from zero-rated to tax-exempt, is to say you are liable to pay tax. It's only that you've been exempted. Okay? Zero-rated is that you don't pay at all, even other ingredients you use within the process.
Okay.
You could be tax-exempted, but the other ingredients that you're using to produce are taxed.
Okay.
Meaning the cost of production is going to be high. So the cost to the end user will be high because there is some elements within your processes which otherwise you are not paying a VAT or value-added tax, but now you are paying. Even if your item, you don't charge VAT. Are we on that?
Yes.
So what means is that through the process, a lot of things changes because now you pay a VAT. You are not enjoying that which you are enjoying before. That is what that changes. But before we go to the details, significantly, and I think there's two elements maybe Kenyans have not looked at it at. One of them is that the finance bill proposes to integrate your financial data which you pay throughout your platforms. Meaning, anything that you receive on your M-Pesa till Poshi la Biashara, before you do a zero return, even if you're actively doing business, because there was no opportunity to get to know what you do. So that Mama Mboga in a very busy market, who comes with a truckload of burgers and sell to everyone, and she is paid through Poshi la Biashara and everything else, that money goes to either M-Pesa to the bank. So what KLIA proposes to do is to integrate that with their systems so that they have feasibility with what you are doing. So they can collect your PIN and M-Pesa number and even your money in the bank and tell you now, please explain to us where this money is from.
Okay.
So that's quite significant because probably there will be the head of zero returns. And this has moved to, and by that 1st of December every year, you need to do your returns if you are claiming zero returns. So we are headed to that phase of whereby now a lot of Kenyans who have otherwise not been paying taxes, they're going to be together. Number two, on compliance still, KLIA proposes that it can set an agency not to Safaricom or your bank. An agency is someone who corrects on behalf. So if you have a case with KLIA, whether you've gotten even a ruling favorable to you at the court and you go for appeal, KLIA is seeking through the finance bill to freeze your account. So as you case whether you have tax liable or not, your money will be frozen.
How does it benefit them?
Everything, because they are holding the longer part of the stake, because they are claiming that you need to pay this much, and they have your money. So two-way, you either go negotiate that it is too much, this is how much I need to pay. So there will be win for them, because you will not escape that. I think that those are two significant compliance issues within the finance bill. People are more focused on the 5% pre-accept of profit for Mutuba, and you're learning to see what it means to businesses, to everyone, when it comes to compliance and the cost of doing business.
Yeah.
I think that is two things I wanted to point out before we delve into the deep end.
I mean, especially when it comes to digital payment platforms, right? We see that Kerry is getting into that space, and we see rather conversations with Kenyans or entrepreneurs out here. They're saying, because of what that means, they're highly likely to force Kenyans to go back into hard cash. Come with your money because I don't want to be in this platform because Kerry is on my neck. What does that do then to, say, these institutions that have made billions because of these online platforms, vis-a-vis as well, KRA making it easier for many, right, to also just move money without being tracked?
Well, I think I'll start with the KRA, because for them, like KRA, they always make it like if it's punitive to do business on digital platform. Instead of put it convenience for you to do business and laterly pay what it is that you ought to pay to KLIA. I think that is only area they need to tinker so that it looks like it's convenient to pay. It's not punitive. Yes. Because if people interpret it as punitive, there will be a lot of under the mattress banking. When we have a lot of other matters banking, then we miss what we call velocity of money in the economy, because there are not a lot of money within the established financial systems.
Okay.
So that could be, and to an extent, those people who from the villages, you might go back to barter trade, whereby you exchange goods equivalent in value.
Or cash.
Or cash.
Yeah.
So it will depend on how KLA is going to position it, how they're going to communicate what is it they're looking for. Otherwise, if you look like it's punitive, it's punishing you, then a lot of things will go back to cash business. And those people who are in digital platforms, then we might see a lot of institutions closing down and maybe even unemployment. And also the innovation part of it dying.
So when we look at this finance bill and then the thoughts that a developing country needs to be economy facing, and if you look at Kenya's economy and what grows it at the moment, two of the big areas are agriculture and the service industry. And I thought it was interesting that in this finance bill, the zero rating now to tax exempt is targeting two of those areas. If we want to look at cane, whereby you're saying the transportation of cane from farms to milling factories is now going to be tax exempt. That means you can charge on it.
Yes.
That's agriculture. If you look at feeds, inputs or raw materials, when you look at your sunflower seed cake that is used for making mash for whether it's poultry or cattle or dairy farming, the input or raw materials purchased or imported for the manufacture of animal feeds also now tax exempt, still agriculture. Medicine, inputs or raw materials supplied to pharmaceutical manufacturers in Kenya for manufacturing medicine. When you look at things like magnesium stearate, which is in everything, whether it's in saline, whether it's in your headache medicine, basic medicine has that component. What they're saying now is that we're going to move it from zero rated to tax exempt. Again, phones, service industry, locally assembled and manufactured mobile phones will now go from zero rated to tax exempt. Transport, electric buses, which we've been touting about for the longest time, a select category of motorcycles and electric bicycles, which help the environment because now there's no combustion, which had been seen as though you want to bring that in again to help the economy, now also will be tax exempt and not zero rated. It seems as though the part of the economy which you want to thrive, you want it to thrive, service industry and agriculture, are the areas which we're now saying, let's tax them. And we already know that you cannot tax your way to development. It doesn't seem as though these elements in the finance bill, these ones that I'm speaking about, are actually going in a economy-facing direction. Or was it necessary for these two areas to then be looked at to be able to get more money?
Unfortunately, all our finance bills are not normally focused in growth of economy. If you look at how they're presented, I say this because 70% of households in Kenya rely on agriculture. If you look at our economic survey, data shows that one of the sectors that grew least is agriculture. And that is why a lot of people struggle because even disposable income is not available. So when you go back to the same sector and you are heavy on both direct and indirect taxation, means that sector will not grow. So we actually, the CS Treasury and Planning is shooting his both feet because you'd want the households to grow their earning, okay? But now, instead of putting those measures that will make that happen, then we go south. Number two, if you look at our industrialization, our manufacturing sector, also in terms of growth, when the manufacturing sector doesn't grow, means even agriculture is affected because there is aspect of value addition. And one of the sector that had difficulties in growth is manufacturing. And also, if you looked at loan defaults, in fact, manufacturing was way above the industry average of 15% of non-performing loans. Why? Because the sector is struggling. Number three, the other avenues where the country would get resources like carbon trading.
Yeah.
You know, that's a new trade where you get a lot of resources. However, if you look at now the new taxation regime on electric everything,
Yeah.
you know, we're looking for a quick gain to get the money than the long-term gain, where now the country can say, look, this is how much we're earning from the credit, trading.
Yeah.
So until when we are doing finance bill, we look at the economic aspect than revenue collection. I think that is what must change when looking, and even when we are budgeting. We should not necessarily be budgeting. We should not necessarily, when you're looking at the finance bill, is that we want to correct as much from the new innovation and all that. We need to look at the impact, the outcome in the long term.
Because that's what we're saying now. Now, if you have cane, because the folks who have to move cane from the farm to the processing mill, and there's going to be some added tax on that, what's going to happen is that your byproduct, which sugar, by the way, okay, so your sugar, which is used as a sweetener,
becomes expensive.
Industrial sugar, whatever, becomes expensive. So you who's going to buy it off the shelf, you're going to have to spend a little bit more for it. You who is a farmer, to buy feed, you will have to spend a little bit more for it. And then we who buy the meat, or who buy the eggs, who buy the
sugar,
whatever, we have to pay a little bit more for it. Cosmetics, medicine, all of these things will have, especially for those that are locally manufactured, we're going to have to spend a little bit more for it. It may not seem like a lot, but if you're buying a painkiller, for example, that has been manufactured locally, and the item that goes into its manufacture is more expensive because of the tax, we're going to have to spend a little bit more on it. 5 shillings, 10 shillings, whatever the case may be. If I'm buying a phone that has been locally manufactured, I have to spend more to buy it. Transport, I mean, there's no telling what's going to happen. We are now in the e-commerce revolution where I can sit where I am and somebody can run around and do my things for me. Those bills will become more expensive. Is that not what we're talking about now? That the end user, at the end of all of these processes, where somebody's sitting in Treasury, crunching the numbers, we read a finance bill, the manufacturers or the farmers or whatever it is have to spend a little bit more money. The person at the end of the spectrum is the one who's going to bear the brunt of this
exactly.
process.
And unfortunately, sometimes we do for Kenyans only, because once we make our industry be very uncompetitive, for example, where we always struggling and crying about sugar from Malawi.
It's cheaper.
It's cheaper. Is it any magic? No, because their taxation regime does not focus on collection of revenue, but the growth of the sector. And when the sector grows, you get more money. You understand? So when you make the farming, chicken and everything else, then you're saying our brothers and sisters in Uganda, you grow the economy, because that's where you're going to import. You know, we are growing the economy for Tanzania. You know, we're using our Kenya shilling to grow the neighbors, the economy. It's like you, after work, you have a kitchen garden, but you go and cultivate your neighbors' kitchen garden. Then after that, you buy from them. You know, so I think we must change how we do our budgeting, how we look at a financial bill, because we make a budget that we must give money to.
Doctor, you've said something that is very critical, and that is about all we want to do is to collect money.
Yes.
But one asks the question, with the current taxation regime that we see, will we even get that money? Because, hear me out, if we make things expensive at the end of it all, because if farmers spend more to produce, that means the end product will be expensive. That means Kenyans will have less even in their pockets to consume that product. That means the purchasing power of Kenyans will go down. You might not get the end result that you're looking for at the end of the day. Therefore, It is not in taxing more that you get more. It is in taxing appropriately that you get more. Correct me if I'm wrong.
It is true. I keep saying here, there is no jurisdiction anywhere in the world which has grown organically through taxation. Zero. What the government must do is to create conducive environment for business consumption to thrive. And as you said, when you tax more, there's what we call consumption tax, VAT and others. People will not be able to consume, meaning you could be getting maybe taxes, revenue from this other side, but the other side shrinks, which is more sustainable.
Yeah.
So I think that is, I agree with you, that when you tax more, then people don't have even purchasing power to consume. So we need to, I think is the easier way to go about it. The government is lazy. Sometimes lazy because you want to go to a quick one and get immediate gain. And even look at last year, the financial, the budget 2025. How much did the government collect from both ordinary revenue, appropriation in aid and grants? And now they project to collect even more. Yeah. From where? If you look at our economic growth, is it able, taxation is growing faster than the economy. It is growing faster. If you look at the growth of how much they want to grow to collect, and the economic GDP growth, they are at parity. And it is not possible.
But you would imagine that patterns then play out and that through that habit is formed. There has there been 5 years in, following each other where KRA has collected the amount of money that has been announced during the budget?
No, and not in this life.
KRA has never, if they say this year, when they read the budget and the minister at that time, or the cabinet secretary during these times, says that the Kenya Revenue Authority will collect, we expect 2.8 trillion, whatever the case may be. KRA has never collected that amount of money.
No, it does. It's depending on the budget that you make.
No, that's what I'm saying. In the budgets that have been made, the amount of money that KRA is mandated to collect in a fiscal year, have they ever collected that total amount of money?
Yes, they have.
They have.
But you need also to have a budget that mirrors that. That was during Moi Kibaki's time. The budget would mirror what it is they intend to do. There's no way you'd have a budget of 4.9 trillion. And data shows that the last correction was about 2.5 trillion.
Oh, I get it. So we're doing things in the reverse. So you should make your budget according to what KRA can collect.
Of course.
But this way, it's being done the opposite, that you make a budget and then you go and tell KRA to go and collect.
And get this money.
Right. Now, because the National Treasury and the folks who do all of this policy around how the economy will grow, they're focused on the growth of the economy, yes? But if you focus on the growth of the economy, and one of the factors that you use to peg on that is collections from a tax authority, then it seems as though we've got the wrong direction. Because, like we said, you cannot develop on tax collection. Tax collection keeps the water running and the lights on. But if you want to build a balcony, for example, in this house, it is not from the taxes that you're going to do that. That has to come from the proceeds of things like manufacturing. Now, shouldn't that be the focus? And that would then give rise to the argument that has been floated by quite a number of people that you actually don't need a finance bill every year. You shouldn't have to continue looking for ways in which to keep the lights on. You should be looking for ways in which to build the balcony.
I'm a proponent of, and I think I've said here many times, that it is not a must that you have an annual finance bill. And that is what, if I looked at the memoranda from KEPSA, and they were saying, where the problem with us is that our country, our taxation regime is not predictable. if you're an investor and you want to invest in the country, and you are doing your projection in terms of profitability and all that, you cannot put a finger what you pay tomorrow.
And you should be able to.
Yeah.
Now, last 3 years, let me put three things that went to the profitability of institutions. One, housing levy. Okay?
Yeah.
Where you pay and your employer pay the same.
Please.
Go to NHIF, go to NSSF. Those three statutory deduction had a knock to a lot of profitability, you know. Then, if you are an investor and you want to invest in East Africa and you are doing your due diligence, and one of them is profitability in terms of tax prediction, would you think the person who is doing your due diligence will give Kenya a A1?
Prof, are you saying that Kenya, as a result of its tax regime, has lost investors?
A lot of them. And also other related costs. Why is now manufacturing going to Egypt, for instance? For example, just go to a recent review of within the energy sector. Diesel went up, cost of production went up, even power, because we have a lot of thermal energy producers who are using diesel, goes up. So there's a lot of adjustment in terms of then the knock effect in the next 1 year. You'll see a lot of manufacturing and other related reporting quite a bit of loss in terms of profitability. If you put now maybe someone who was assembling electric bicycles and bikes in Kenya, solar and all that, and there is this proposal which was not there last year when they were doing their budgeting and projecting for the next 10 years. You can see the reports back to the headquarters, wherever they come from, that we may propose to relocate to this other country, whereby now we just sell. The Kenya becomes, and we become a supermarket for many products. Now let's be selling just that product because there's no value, there's no competitiveness of producing in the country. So I think those are the issues that come with the and being unpredictable in terms of taxation regime, that it keeps changing. Rather than when we have 5 years, we know when you come to Kenya or any other country, for the next 5 years, these are going to be like this.
We've seen the movement as well when it comes to mobile phone and purchasing of the same, as well as taxation that seemingly is to be added on internet and bundles. And one would look at the gig economy or the content creators that we have in the country today. And it is an industry that is seemingly doing very well. It's employing a lot of young people. But we see that at the point where you go to purchase a mobile phone, there is an additional 25% excess duty that you will have to pay upon that time when you're activating that phone. That is transferred to the buyer, right? We also see internet as well will be expensive for many. How does that affect a sector that, according to the demography of the country, the majority who are unemployed, but that which then gives them employment has become very expensive because the digital economy runs on internet?
You know, a phone is no longer for hello, how are you doing? It's an office.
It is.
So now, when there is a 25% excise duty on both accessories and it's made, it is not affordable. And the government is high on the talent and digital economy.
Yeah.
What was also shooting itself on the foot is that it promised to lay about 100,000 fiber. So it's going to tax itself, becomes expensive to even lay the infrastructure. Meaning then that demographic section of the community, it is almost excluded. Remember also, not only that the 25% excise duty on the phone, there is also a proposal to put VAT on digital payment platforms.
Yes.
So when you are paying on M-Pesa, when you go and pay through your debit card, when the interbank charges, when you pay using your equity and you're using Standard Chartered, then you get to be, there is a levy VAT, meaning now the transaction becomes expensive, meaning the financial deepening, inclusivity that everyone is coming on board now becomes expensive to pay on phone, so you'd rather keep your money. So all that combined, then it hits both the content creator, the talent and all that, and also consumption becomes less weak because it becomes punitive to pay. And also the convenience and also the innovation. People within the space who would want to innovate more within the payment platform becomes expensive for them. So I think that hits directly to Mwananchi, because now, even to set something home now, you need to be looking at your M-Pesa balance to how much more do you have. So I think all those combined, those are pressure points for Mwananchi, or who we call Wajiko, that the finance bill is being pushed like we are not adding extra taxes. I think that is what the CS Treasury is talking to.
But you are.
However, it's a lie. You know why? And I said here again, Finance Act are in perpetuity. So Finance Act 2025 is in force.
Yes, it doesn't stop because a new year has come about.
Finance Bill 2023 is in force. Normally, if you look at this Finance Bill 2026, the language, it seeks to amend. So it's amending what is already existing.
Yeah.
So all those kobo of taxes that Kenyans have been paying, they are still in force. And when the minister says that there is no extra taxes, the government, through no extra taxes, seeks to correct about 120 billion. From where?
If they're not extra taxes, then what are they?
Exactly.
Okay. So what has come from a lot of economists right now looking at building the economy is that this is not the way that it should happen. That what you are actually doing is that you're increasing taxes, and unfortunately it's a small number, or the smaller percentage of the population that is paying them. Now, if it were to be different, in order to have which the government, we know in the system of government, must collect taxes, that's undisputed. And at the same time, concurrently, you want a growing economy. What should we do? Because we spend a lot of time poking holes in this thing, don't we? But what should we do if we're going to say we must have an economy-facing movement and at the same time keep the lights on and the water running, and then be competitive in this global atmosphere in which we all exist in? What are things you must do? What are things that you should be focusing on? Should you focus on the things that are building the economy already? MSMEs, service industry, agriculture for Kenya? What should you actually be doing?
I think we lost the opportunity 4 years ago.
Oh, God. Okay, so what? Okay.
You know why? 2026, 2027 budget is normally almost the last one for the regime, because the next one, if the regime changes, they will only have 2 months to implement. So I say so because these are conversations that probably they would have had 4 years ago on their first budget, 2023, 2024. Because it would have focused on making the economic environment competitive and conducive so that the economy can thrive. Okay? And once the economy thrives, then gradually or incrementally, like you're going up the stairs, you keep on knocking off and pinching from the vibrant economy. For now, we have an economy that is struggling, okay? And also a budget that need to be funded. So there is very little leg room and headroom to even think, what is it they must do? So probably we lost the bus, the water has passed, the bus is gone. Until maybe if the regime gets back or a new regime comes, then they need to have 5 years to focus on the growth of economy through budgeting.
And this is the thing, what grows today in Kenya? What grows the Kenyan economy that we've seen has happened before, that you're looking at all indicators? What grows the economy?
Our economy is purely 70% agriculture driven, informal sector,
so
the small businesses.
So if you have the right input, the correct protectionist policies, the correct budgetary allocation in terms of appropriation and all of this, then you would actually see the economy grow in agriculture.
And manufacturing.
You would see that if you did these things, you would see the economy grow. It's been proven before.
Definitely.
So why not do that?
As I said, because we do finance bill to correct revenue. We are so much focused on what we call developments in terms of infrastructure.
So a major highway is not going to grow the economy?
It would if the model is right. You know? For example, if we give a contractor to do a major highway from here to Mombasa, and 70% of the income from the project is exported back to their mother country, there will be no the ripple effect. And that's what happened with the railway, SGR. Show me anything significant apart from death along the railway that grew out of SGR. Point one.
Yeah.
People going to Mombasa.
No, I'm saying something that have a ripple effect that
on the economy.
On the economy.
Yeah.
Show me one. Very little, because the model was sometimes long.
So this is what I mean. Point us in a direction of what a model would look like that would make sense. Because here it's saying that, for example, the money that was used on the SGR was budgeted, okay, at some point, right? But you're saying that if you're budgeting this kind of money for something that is not growing the economy, then it's a loss, right? The SGR, loss-making, many would say. But what would it look like as a model then that worked, then for you to say, yes, look, where you got money from, this is where you put it, and it is actually working?
If I was the one doing SGR, I would have like 3 or 4 dams along that area, so that we are producing and we are exporting with something out of the country. The SGR will bring you to Nairobi, will bring stuff to Naivasha, but when it's going back, it's full of air.
Yeah. I mean...
Okay, so it's not carrying anything.
It's not, there's no commerce.
Doc, that is then the question that has been here, especially when it talks about protectionary policies and what other governments have done to protect their industries until they grow before they're able to open up to the rest of the world. We talk about our coffees, our teas, we talk about our peanuts, we talk about our avocados, we talk about our sweet potatoes, cane, everything, right? We are exporting a lot of raw materials. Everybody will use our avocados to get avocado oil. They will use our potatoes to make crisps and everything that is nice. They will use our coffee beans, our coffee berries to make the end product. If Kenya built that railway with the intention of adding value in all these products that we have, and we therefore use that to ferry it to the port and to the rest of the world, would it make sense then to see that that railway makes sense, especially for the purpose with which it was constructed?
But what comes first? And I keep asking, we used to have Moses Kuria.
Yes.
When he was a CS trip.
Yeah.
He did a lot of integration centers and all that.
Yeah.
To integrate what? Because I think sometimes we think development is brick and mortar. We saw a lot of groundbreaking for Moses Kuria's stuff.
Yeah.
To add value, what? Because the upstream is empty.
Yes.
When you want to do an industrial park in Murang'a. Okay. To do what with it? Now we've done the building. we are the middle. We are not even downstream where we do the processing. So what is in our farms? So where do you start? For example, there was this story that in 7 years, that the country imports about 300 billion worth of edible oils, right? Yes. And we were told that the whole of Western Belt produces palm oil.
Yes.
And the government is good to do that. But we forget that for palm oil to mature, it takes 7 years. So even if today we planted one single, we need 7 years. And that's why I said we have lost 4 years. Because we would be harvesting in the next 3 years.
3 years.
So we save our country 350 billion import. We talked about BT cotton. Again, the whole of the region can grow like Kipi and all that. Where is it? So that we can grow our textile. That's why I said we lost 4 years ago when we had the manifesto for KK government. So where is that cotton? So that now we are able to grow our industry and to have farmers money in the pocket. We were told that about 2 million shoes every year in the country. The Maasais are not good to sell hide and skin. They will be selling shoes. Where are they? So that we save 200 million of import of synthetic, sometimes leather shoes. So we lost it 4 years ago. So there is nothing, and that is a budget. 4 years ago, we wanted to see, so that we are talking about cottage industries. Where are they 4 years ago? And that is now you understand when I mean about budgeting for economic growth.
Yes.
So if we saw that vote that we lose 5 billion to do a leather processing industry, and we have about 10 million Kenyans who go to school, and government says now all schools we are going to buy for our internal market. You know what it means? If you look at all those what had been sold, that is where we lost our budget making for economic growth. That's why I said it's lost. I don't know whether you understand where I'm coming from.
Yeah. Do you reckon, therefore, if the things you talk about were done and that today, in terms of taxation, the government of Kenya would not be so heavy on taxation in terms of raising revenue because the economy itself would feed the country?
Exactly. That's what I mean. When you ask me, it depends on the model. We are doing Liloni Mausamet highway. Okay. Then what?
To take people home during
Christmas.
What
do we want to find for Christmas before January to Christmas? What do you want to see along that beautiful
highway?
What is that you want to see? The upstream. The design works are there. Then let me put it simply. What are the corporate social responsibility for the road?
What else can it do?
What else can it do?
Yeah.
Apart from taking you to Kerisho, to Kisumu, and road trips.
Well, those are the questions, and that's the direction in which we hope things will be pointing. Dr. Stephen Gachie, thank you for being here with us this morning. Conversations open our eyes and help us to develop more insights into some of these things. We know the way which should be going, and we should have conversations in that direction. Thank you for being here this morning. Our conversations continue until the next time. Good morning. It's 9 a.m.
The latest news from around. This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.